It's your national forecast for Saturday, December 13th. I'm Matt Hamel, filling in for Victoria today. Now we can look across the country where the cold air is still a factor for parts of the prairies into parts of Ontario. However, relief on the way with that cold in the prairies, but the cold arriving into Ontario and Quebec more and more as we get deeper into the weekend. The big story, atmospheric river action in BC. Now, recent days, that's really created quite a flooding risk and some concerns that are only looking to be elevated with more rain on the way. Yes, another atmospheric river, a Pineapple Express, tapping into a lot of moisture, tropical moisture by way of Hawaii, and making for another potentially 100+ millimeter event. Now, we do have some rainfall for the weekend, but it's really late Sunday when this heavy wave arrives in a multi-day event, and this is really the last thing many dealing with the flooding wanted to see, but that is what the forecast is showing. We also have an avalanche danger rating that's in the considerable risk level for a portion of BC into parts of the Rockies heading towards Alberta. Now, the wind also going to be quite strong, as you see there. Sunday, more central coastal areas, but then shifting down further south over the next few days. Now, looking at that rainy pattern, certainly getting the indication that it's going to be a wet couple of days with that heavy rainfall. For the prairies, we do see some snow, but again, the temperature story is a big one. First, let's take a look at some of that flurry activity that could be continuing into parts of northern Saskatchewan early on our Sunday. By tomorrow afternoon, you got two pockets of snowfall we're seeing there. It looks like the heavier stuff for Alberta, and that will kind of track across the region. Maybe some more northern prairie snow into our Monday. But gusty winds are also going to be quite the factor. Look at Alberta into the start of the work week and then over into southern and central Saskatchewan. So we'll brace for gusty winds. The good news is temperatures are starting to improve already for Alberta. Still cold. As you can see, these are our daytime highs for Saskatchewan and Manitoba. But by tomorrow, what improvement already. Regina with a 0-degree high. That is just head and shoulders above some of the cold we've been seeing. And there's that pattern. Now, Winnipeg might have to wait until Monday for that above freezing daytime high, but this is quite a bit of improvement, although it might not last all that long as cold air returning mid to late week, it looks like, for the prairies. But for this afternoon across the east, we're tracking some snowfall in parts of Ontario, parts of southern Quebec, and Atlantic Canada. Now we're looking at a bit of a fairly modest sea effect snowfall in the short term, but this is going to be more so late weekend into our Monday. So there's that sea effect snow, parts of western Newfoundland and Cape Breton. Overnight into our Sunday, we do have this little pulse of moisture there. Could be a bit messy with that wet snow or a brief shot of ice, but then we get later into our Sunday, there's that heavy pocket of snow for the Maritimes. And again, you see that low pressure system over Newfoundland, which heading into our Monday morning and early afternoon, we're still hanging on to some snow for areas like Cape Breton. But look at the heavy snowfall rates forecast right now. And again, that messy ice and ice pellets and rain that could be sort of in the mix as well. So this is something we'll be monitoring closely. It still is a bit hard to predict, and the wind is looking certainly like it would be accompanying a pretty messy system. Now, looking over the next few days, we do see those cold temperatures settling in. Again, that cold really migrating further and further east as it gives the prairies a little bit of a break. Now, looking at the scattered flurry activity for southern Quebec today, and that's going to be a factor through our afternoon before a bit of a quiet Sunday looks to be on tap. We get a break from that snow, but temperature-wise, it's going to be looking cold. Now, after a pretty chilly stretch for Quebec City, an above freezing daytime high for both Wednesday and Friday. So sort of up and down the temperature roller coaster there. Meanwhile, let's talk about snowfall, lake effect activity for Ontario, starting off the day with some messy conditions, poor visibility as the winds are also quite brisk for our Saturday. Now, later into the afternoon today, you see things shifting over to eastern Ontario, southern Quebec. Then we await, again, after some more Sunday lake effect activity. It does look like early on our Monday, another pocket of snowfall starting in northern areas could once again bring more snow into southern Ontario.